Even with all the craziness that happened in 2025, easily one of the best parts for me were all the films and shows that were released. Like genuinely, some of my favorite experiences last year were just me at the theaters with my friends and family. This video would quite literally be long as hell if I talked about every film I watched in 2025. So in this video, I just want to take the time to highlight some of my favorites from the year. Same as last time, this is just my list, so if you see something missing, maybe I didn't get around to watching it, or maybe I just didn't like it as much as you. Cough cough weapons. But yeah, let's get this party started. New year, same record. So if you've been enjoying everything I've been putting out, maybe hit that subscribe button. It helps a lot. Plus it's free, and we all love free stuff. Number 15, Mickey 17. Kinda strangely, 2025 was a pretty great year for actors playing two roles in projects. With this, another movie on my list, and a show that appeared on my shows list. I think just generally speaking, Mickey 17 didn't really get the love that it deserved in a lot of ways. Like obviously, it would have been really hard for any director to follow up a film like Parasite, but on its own, this film is still really fun, man. Robert Pattinson as both Mickeys really shows just how wide his acting range is, and continues to prove why he might just be the best actor of his generation. And this film's themes of identity, class, and colonization really aren't things you see in too many big budget films these days. Number 14, Frankenstein. Now, was this film like really long? Yes. And did this film take a little bit to pick up steam for me? Yes again. But once the film starts moving, Frankenstein paints a really deep and compelling story about fatherhood, generational trauma, and what actually makes a person human. I think all three of the main leads are doing a great job with what they're given, but Jacob Elordi, especially as the monster, was definitely the standout for me. He really did a great job at portraying and making you sympathize with, well, a monster. Number 13, Chainsaw Man the movie, Reze Art. I alluded to it last video, but I love me some anime, especially shonen. Chainsaw Man Season 1 was easily one of my favorite animes of 2022, so it was really fun to finally be thrown back into this kinda crazy world. The best way that I could describe this movie was surprisingly low-key a dark romance, which kinda confused me going in, but I definitely wasn't mad at it. Obviously though, when it comes to shonen anime films, the make or break is the action, and just like in the show, that aspect definitely didn't disappoint. Number 12, Final Destination Bloodlines. Going into like every Final Destination film, you kinda know what you're gonna get, which is a whole lot of crazy deaths. But this film, more than any other in the franchise, made Death kinda like a character in his own right, and he's an asshole apparently. I think a family being at the center of the film is an interesting concept, and I really like how this film kinda ties all the Final Destination films together, while also deconstructing the typical tropes in these films, both in a pretty unique way. Number 11, One Battle After Another. I was definitely really high on this film immediately after watching it. Obviously I still like it, I mean it's on my list, but I think that initial high I had while watching it tempered down just a bit with some time. I think all the performances, even the characters that are in the film for like maybe 5 minutes, were all pretty stellar. Like I'm not even sure if Benicio del Toro was in this film for even 15 minutes, but he's a scene stealer every second he's on screen. Same with Chase Infinity in like her first ever acting role. And I especially gotta commend this film for telling that story, especially in our current political climate. Number 10, Fantastic Four First Steps. Despite folks thinking I kinda hate this film, just going off some of the comments in that video, I actually like First Steps. I'm such a big fan of the aesthetic of this film's world, and I'm really not sure how much more we'll see of it again, since they'll probably merge this FF into the main MCU universe after Secret Wars. I also think overall, the team itself was really well casted, and in the kind of small scenes we actually see them interacting as a family, you really feel that bond and connection between all four of them. Number 9, F1. I did not watch this film in theaters, primarily because I refused to give Brad Pitt any more money. But when I finally did get around to watching it, it was a pretty fun ride. My Nigerian brother Damson Idris quite literally steals every scene that he's in this film. And as someone who couldn't have cared less about racing going into this film, it really did a great job of showcasing just how engaging the sport could be, thanks to Joseph Krasinski's stellar directing. It also gave us this Hall of Fame reaction video, so that's a plus too. Number 8, One of Them Days. I'm pretty sure this was the first film I watched in 2025. So in a lot of ways, it kind of set the bar for the rest of the films that I watched that year. This movie was just really fun, man. Like, Kiki and SZA really had great chemistry together, especially their comedic timing, while in a situation that continued to escalate worse and worse as the movie went by. SZA's acting in this actually really surprised me. I still wouldn't wish a friend like her character in this film on my worst enemy though. Number 7, Eternity. Yes, I love a good rom-com. I grew up with older sisters. But regardless of that, this film definitely had one of the most interesting premises from one of those that I've seen in a minute. I think Eternity does a really great job at exploring a lot of themes and concepts that have been shown in other films, but not with this much creativity and heart in my opinion. I think Elizabeth Olsen has really great chemistry with both her potential love interests in this film, and that adds to make her choice way more compelling in the end. Number 6, Thunderbolts. If you were one of the maybe 10 people who watched my review on this movie, then you know that Thunderbolts was pretty easily my favorite MCU film in a minute. This film was really such a breath of fresh air compared to a lot of Marvel's post-Endgame output. It really leaned heavy into focusing the story on relatable and very human characters, struggling to deal with very human struggles that a lot of us deal with in our everyday lives. Number 5, K-pop Demon Hunters. I, like maybe a lot of people, are probably kind of tired of seeing this film literally everywhere. Like, genuinely the scariest thing I saw all summer was like 30 plus kids all singing Your Idol in unison. Terrifying. But even still, none of that at all retroactively changes the fact that K-pop Demon Hunters is still a great film. Like some others on my list, this film also plays with some pretty deep themes, like identity and self-acceptance, and they're subtly demonstrated in various degrees with all the characters. Like what's kind of becoming the norm for Sony Animation, the art and animation in this film is pretty damn amazing, especially in those fight scenes. And even though I'm very much tired of hearing Golden literally everywhere I turn, all the songs in this movie are super catchy. K-pop Demon Hunters really continues that excellent run that Sony Animation is starting to have. Number 4, Marty Supreme. This was the last film I watched in 2025, and judging by its placement this high on my list, I think you could definitely say that my 2025 movie slate ended on a pretty high note. I'll be honest with you, I couldn't care less about Ping Pong if I tried, but this film does a really great job at making it so engaging through the character of Marty. Timothy's really acting his ass off in this movie, and he makes a really unlikable, selfish, and seemingly unredeemable character like Marty kinda relatable in a way. Like, in a kinda strange way, you start to understand all the selfish and terrible things he does to make his dreams a reality. Honestly, I respect the dedication. Kevin O'Leary still freaking sucks though. Number 3, Superman. I watched this film in theaters, surprisingly like 4 times. So that should probably tell you just how much I love this film. This film, maybe almost single-handedly, had the crazy task of fixing Superman and DC Films' reputation. I really think this film did exactly what it needed to do, which was reintroduce Superman and his entire supporting cast back to general audiences after decades of mischaracterization and flanderization. All the characters and the world this film takes place in are so vibrant and well defined. It honestly in a lot of ways feels like I'm watching a comic book on screen. I really can't wait to see what's next for this new iteration of Superman and the DCU as a whole. Number 2, Companion. More than any other film on my list, Companion easily caught me the most off guard when watching it. It's incredibly hard to even talk about this film without literally spoiling everything, but this film really does a great job of keeping audiences on their toes the whole runtime. I watched this film with my best friends, and going in, I was the only one who watched the trailer or knew literally anything about the film besides the title going in. So it was pretty fun watching their faces sit there in shock as the film progressed and more of those reveals occurred. This film is just so damn engaging, man. The protagonist Iris, played by Sophie Thatcher, is super compelling, and the themes of this film are a lot deeper than they would seem on paper going into it. I really wish I could say more without just honestly ruining it, but if you have HBO Max, definitely give it a watch. And at number 1, Sinners. No shock to anyone who actually knows me, or if you've just been paying attention to my channel since when I first started it, but it'd be no surprise that Sinners would be my number 1 movie of the year. Even just going into the year 2025, this was by far my most anticipated movie of the year, besides maybe Superman. But Sinners really did live up to a lot of the hopes and hype that I had for it going into it. I could go on and on about how perfect all the castings were in this film, how amazing the script penned by Ryan Coogler was, the just breathtaking cinematography. Like, that juke joint scene is literally maybe my favorite scene in any movie ever. Or any of the film's millions of incredibly deep and thought-provoking themes. But still, for me, after all these months, the most compelling thing about this film is just that idea of freedom and the fight for it, both on and off screen. Honestly, that deal that Ryan Coogler fought to have just gives me a lot of hope as a creator myself. I watched a whole lot of films in 2025, like maybe the most I've ever seen in a single year. But Sinners, for me at least, is gonna take a lot to dethrone anytime soon. Thank you all once again for watching. I know I always say this, but it really does mean a lot. I honestly wish I could have talked about more of the films I watched this year because I really did watch a bunch. And I didn't even get to everything on my list like Zootopia or Hedda. I'm really hoping to top that number of films watched in 2026 though. But remember to like and subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell so you actually know when I post a video. And let me know what you thought of my list and some of your favorite films in the comments below. I got a lot of fun stuff that I'm working on right now, so I'll talk to you guys hopefully very soon.